Okay, how can I not do a video on a Holden HR radio? I was about to go check this out in the car and have it all sort of ready to fit, etc., with all the mods we're doing with the HR Holden, and I thought, being a radio technician, even though the person said that it works, maybe I should just hook it up to some of our more serious equipment and have a bit of a look at just how it actually does work. And all we've done is basically hooked up 12 volts here, speaker, we've got an adapter from car radio plugged through to PL259 UHF connector through to the analyzer, and just little 3.5mm jack into the speaker there. And I'm even using Don Mills's this is the oil sensor from memory. Oil or temperature? Oil. Hang on. It got me thinking. Try to remember now. It's video. Oh, Don, I can't remember now. It's just the oil. It's one of those sensors. I'll work it out when I go to fiddle. Okay, so at the moment, let's turn this monitor down. That tone you're hearing is a 1 kilohertz tone that we're then putting through to the radio. This reading here of 0.748 microvolts is actually us, and I reckon I'll get that down to about 0.5. When we talk microvolt levels, whoops, actually I'll have to go to that the other way. That's it, around 0.5. Now at 0.5 a microvolt, now you can hear the tone there. What we're trying to do is we've just got audio there, is find that carrier. There it is. Now, it doesn't sound pretty at the moment because of the way they demodded AM signals back in the day. But just to show you, when I turn the switch off here, well, that's not it. Let's keep going. I reckon it's further up the band. I thought that was it for sure. I don't mind giving a faux pas when I need to, but yeah, that actually didn't find it. Oh, hang on. I forget what I said. That sounds more like a 1 kilohertz tone. To be honest, I thought it was actually the tone we were hearing earlier, which is a bit of a birdie we're hearing on the radio. But that sounds more like 1 kilohertz. Now, let's try that same trick I tried to fool you with before. That's not it either. How can that be? Oh, this is getting interesting by the minute. Because that sounds like 1 kilohertz. Keep in mind, you will get birdies on these sort of radios, but that sounds so right. Let me just bring up my levels here. Alright, no, that's not it. That's a birdie somewhere. That's another birdie. Now we found it. Finally we found it. Okay. And actually, now what we're doing, generating a signal, dropping a signal. And you might say, well, that seemed a bit sort of strange, but without injecting a signal into these old radios, you will find these little birdies up and down the band on them that as you can see, I'm a radio tech, and that fooled me a couple of times because it sounded a bit 1 kilohertz. See, when I go up here, find our next birdie. Oh, where was it? Here. There's a birdie there, but as I turn that switch off, it's internally being generated inside that radio, and this was a very common issue with a lot of these older radios. See how we can hear the 1 kilohertz tone? Then we can turn it off, turn it on. Okay, so what I was trying to get at before I found the wrong signal is that when we drop down, and now we've found the right signal, we're starting to see the true problems with some of these older radios. I'm at 1.58 of a microvolt. Now 0.5 of a microvolt is considered a nice standard for anything these days. Don't get me wrong, on AM it's always going to be a little bit more difficult. This is not terrible, but as you can see, it really takes it's taking me about 2 microvolts to really hear that tone correctly. So these old Holden radios are and there's nothing wrong with this radio at the moment, but they're predominantly deaf compared to anything that you're using in your later model cars, and you're able to sort of sit there and hear on a bit of wire just about anything. These are completely the opposite. They really do need a decent antenna on them, a good earthing system, etc. So just something and as you can see, even with a good antenna, at times you're going to find signals like this one here, and we turn the generator off, nothing to do with it. Don't get me wrong, there could be something in my equipment here that's generating a signal, that's actually causing interference here. So without turning everything off in here, so I'm not suggesting you're going to hear that signal in the car, but there's something that was throwing me off a bit there, as you can tell by my, well, that's not it, and that's not it. Yeah, okay. Anyway, this radio, full disclosure, I bought this off a chap off the Holden HR site, HRHD site. Is that one that I'm getting? No, that's not it. Hang on, it's up here. Oh, somewhere around here. Find it. Turn the volume up. There it is. Generally, it's still another birdie. Where did I find it? I found it. As you can see, these receivers, that one's really strong though, but that's not the signal. Can't believe we're back trying to find this thing. Oh, let's put a bit more signal through. Sorry, I just realised I had my generator down really low. And sometimes when you're trying to find something like this, see, that doesn't have any 1 kilohertz sound to it at all. And I thought it was back around here. Now keep in mind, I reckon it was that one there. Here we go. Okay, so we're back on it again there. Right on around about 1 megahertz, right on 1 meg. So that's me turning it on and off there. Okay, and sorry, what I was going to say was this radio came from a chap who said, basically, I've pulled it out of the car years ago. I want $250 for it. It worked when it came out, and that's my commitment to you. Full disclosure, love that. You know what? And everything he said turned out to be completely true. I could go into showing you how it's so easy to do a Bluetooth kit and to do a number of different things on these. Don't be, as a radio tech, let me tell you, don't be sort of, this is not rocket science. What's inside these radios, and to add, say, an auxiliary or to do a Bluetooth kit is very, very easy. There's a lot of little bits out of China these days. Look, I'm unfortunately in a position where I just don't have the time to do that for people on a commercial level. There are other people that do, but if you have a really good look at some of the information out there and the circuits that are out there, I mean, there are $5-6 modules that you can do, put them in. And look, when you start talking about upgrading the amplifier stage, maybe taking a line in, developing a line in signal, say for an amplifier, etc. Yeah, a little bit more there to be, played around with. Be very careful. Some of the old components in these things can be pretty brittle. One of the other things too, check for caps that, looking a bit bloated. Maybe we'll do a future video if we get time to show you, the breakdown of inside one of these old Airchiefs and what they're all about. But for now, I just wanted to sort of show you one. Just don't have an antenna here at the moment. Just let me see if I can hook something up. I don't know. Okay, I've hooked a quick antenna onto this, but to be very honest with you, it's not even close to being the right antenna. The gear we use, unfortunately, is used for some very specific bands over HF bands, etc. And as you can see from the mess here, yes, there's quite a bit of mess. Just to the people who normally on my YouTube channel, there's a few people on the HR HD site that won't really understand the RF side of things here, but this is just a bit of an intro. But I think we will do a breakdown of this radio in a future video. Before we put it in the car, I might actually do a bit of an upgrade in one of these just to show you, but actually a hands-on upgrade where I can show you, maybe some cheaper modules to use on not just this radio, but a number of different radios out there, because not everyone can afford $500-600 to put a Bluetooth module in their units, and yeah, it might be worth doing I wasn't going to upgrade this, but just thinking about it, it wouldn't be such a bad idea. I'm noticing a couple of things that probably I want to have a look at anyway, and that mainly is the sensitivity of it at the moment, and also see how it goes quiet on one end of the band. This end of the band quite noisy, and yeah, over here not so good. So we'll have a bit of a look into this one and just see what's going on there. But I must admit, the antenna that I've got on there, I wouldn't expect to hear too much. It's definitely probably asking this radio to, especially at 2 microvolt sensitivity. One of the things we will be able to do is possibly fit a little RF preamp kit into them, and maybe we can show you how to do that as well, just to turn a really old antique radio into something that they've got a lot of old, very old germanium parts, and there's stuff in there where we could upgrade and do. So I think maybe worth. The other thing too, dial light. We'll put a dial light in it, eh? They always look good. And just so you know, I don't do LED dial lights on these. I like using the old incandescents. They just look the part. LED will last longer and be brighter and all those things, but you know what? I'm old-fashioned. All right. Well, temperature or oil? I'm gonna go oil, but I'm not sure. And just a bit of a plug for Don. This is the X2 gauge. I was just about to take this all out to the shed. This is why it's all in one lot here. But he does an excellent job. Don Mills, cannot recommend him highly enough. And he's actually doing a system now where you can convert all that to white if you want. I did contemplate it. For this particular one, I'm keeping it fairly standard. I say that, and I've got the volt gauge in there versus the amp gauge. Not a big fan of the amp gauges with the problems. And just to show you, this will make life easy. This is the temperature sensor, which makes that the oil sensor. Righto. Yeah, okay, so by knocking out which was which, yeah. But Don supplies all that, and it's a really good price, so certainly if you're on the HR HD site, check out Don Mills. He will help you out. And I hope that we can help you out a little bit with some of the discoveries we make on some of this radio stuff in time too. Won't promise it's going to happen overnight. The HR is probably going to get finished around January, February at the moment. Just got a few things to tidy up on it, and it'll be on the road. It's a full nut and bolt rebuild, which yeah, certainly not all my nut and bolt rebuild either. I've got to give credit where credit's due to the previous builder of a lot of this that did some really good work. All right, more on that later. Okay, not that you're hearing much, but this is the original Airchief radio for the HR Holdens. Hearing absolutely nothing at the moment, but as I said, don't blame the radio. We proved on the monitor that it actually is receiving a signal, so it's my antenna that's causing that that problem for sure. 2 microvolt sensitivity, not great, but hey, we can improve that, and I'm sure we'll get that better and show you how to. Probably that's more the elements of what we should be able to do for you guys, to show you just exactly what is not rocket science on an old Airchief radio. All right, cheers guys, all the best.